Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Talk this morning, where we're going to just hang out this morning. And we don't have coffee.
I know.
It can't be Coffee Talk. Oh, no.
Horror of horrors. We got to pretend.
So we're glad you're here with us today.
You just pick up one of those things.
And just to hang out and connect and to kind of do some review of what we talked about this last Sunday. So hopefully you had a chance to either be there in person or to listen online. You can go back and watch on YouTube and hear, or you can go to our podcast, which you can find through LHB Church. And we are kind of looking at the ways that Jesus is kind of moving towards the cross in these last few chapters of Mark, and Jeff is taking us through that. And to kind of get us started on this week's passage, my question is, have you ever given or received a gift that just flopped? That like you thought was going to be the greatest, and it just didn't work the way that you wanted it to? And I realize most of us are probably thinking, oh, that thing I gave my wife, and that other thing I tried to give my wife, and
You want to go?
Well, it's a harder challenge to think of gifts that didn't flop. But
Are you saying your gifts always flop, Chris?
I'm just saying I might not be the best gift giver. For all of those of you who are good at encouraging my wife with good gifts, thank you. She needs that in her life. No, I do remember, the classic example for me goes back to one of our first Christmases that Sheena and I were married. And a few months before, we had been visiting friends, and she had this tea, and she made a comment about how much she liked it. And I went, that's it. I'm going to buy her that and put it in her stocking. And then I went to buy tea, and I realized I don't know how much to buy her. And I'm like, I want to make sure she's got enough for a year, because it was a seasonal tea. I'm like, a 1-year supply sounds like a good amount. So I don't know how much a 1-year supply of any particular variety of tea is for you guys. I thought 6 boxes sounded good. I'm like, that's like 1 for every 2 months. Like, that's pretty good, right? So I loaded up on 6 boxes. She used not even half a box the whole year. And for years, we had this, for years. We moved here, we still had like 4 boxes of the tea. I think, I don't know, she did eventually give away some. She kind of got rid of it. So we didn't have that quite, that much. But it was a ridiculous amount of tea.
Did she like the tea? Or was she just saying that to you?
She liked it, but not liked it. It's not a daily drinker, you might say. Okay. It's like, I might have some of that, and it's okay.
Or was it one of those, like, this tea is great?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Thankfully, it wasn't.
Okay,
it wasn't like when your kids make you something and you have to pretend. It was more like, this is it. There's other gifts, though, where I've given, I'm like, this is going to be the perfect thing, and it's just never been used. Like, in road trips, we're always like, she's too cold, I'm too hot. So, like, Christmas morning, we drive to the island, I dressed like this. It doesn't matter. It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm getting in the car. It's 20 below. I'm in t-shirt. Why? Because I know that someone will be really... So 1 year...
Like this.
Right. So 1 year, I'm like... I found this product online, and it was a heated blanket that you plug into the cigarette lighter.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
like, sounds great. Well, the problem was she opened it up, it smelled funny. It had this funny, I don't think she ever used it, because it just like, it didn't feel good, it was crunchy, and it just wasn't that great. So it's unfortunate, because I thought this is, unlike the tea thing, which I thought was good, this I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's ever been used. So, I think we've all been there.
Well, mine... stocking stuffer again. Cheryl, my wife, and I put this fake dollar store cell phone into Gabe's stocking when I don't know how old he was. So I'm sorry, Gabe, if this makes you embarrassed, but he pulled it out. And I think he must have been 5 or 6. We wouldn't be giving him a cell phone, but he pulled this out, and he thought it was a real cell phone. He started jumping up and down and running. He's like, "This is a cell phone!" And then we were like, Cheryl and I were so like, what do we do? It's fake. You know, when's he gonna find out? And it was so. And then when they realized
So
it
you
was
pranked
fake,
your kid for Christmas. Is what you're saying.
we did not mean to. We
pranked
just
your
thought-
kid.
That's right up there with giving him
We
like a
just-
PS5 box
I know.
Yes.
with a shoe
Well,
in
we
it.
just thought he'd like to play with the fake. We just did not think it through, I guess. But
Yeah.
oh man, that's still a memory that we have, and I talk to Gabe about sometimes, and just feel so bad about how joyful he was, and then the letdown.
Yeah.
So maybe it didn't flop right at first, but
No, I mean,
man, it was
well,
terrible after. How about you? What's
For
yours?
the 2 seconds,
Yeah.
it was probably a great win.
It was, yeah.
I unfortunately feel like I have far too many to choose from.
Yeah.
Like even like I feel like there's one a couple weeks ago where I gave it and I thought this is gonna be awesome and I'm just so excited about it and then they open it and I don't get it. So when you have to explain
yeah.
it, that's pretty poor as well too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a yeah, most of these are with my wife, but like when we were first dating, like very early dating, but you like that person, and you're still kind of getting to know them a little bit, but you're best friends, but you're also dating, so there's feelings there, and then I thought, hey, I'll do a mixtape or a mixed CD. And I'm like, hey, I like that
Classic.
song. Hey, that's a cool song. Hey, that song's about love or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I gave her this CD, and I was like, this is going to be great. And it was not well received because it was so early on in the dating. But all these songs were like, I love you, I want to spend my life with you, and all these things. She's like, what does this
Yeah.
mean? This
like,
is so
too much
cryptic.
too soon, dude.
Yeah. It was
Yep.
just, so like, do you mean all this? Or so it was just a little bit too,
Yep.
yeah. And I mean, I feel like there's a few more like that along the years as well too, but
Was that before or after the corner gas episode? Right, where because the one guy is all about the perfection, like he always makes
Yeah.
the perfect mix CD.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Did that episode come out and just
No,
bring
it
back
was
bad
it was
memories
before
for her?
that.
or-
It was
okay,
before
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Huh.
we were dating long before that.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. So
Oh,
I
congrats.
think
That's
even though
awesome.
some bad gifts along the way, I think I've done not too bad. Okay, now flip it on its head. What about like what's the best gift that you've received that you're like, this just blows my mind?
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus.
Sorry,
For sure.
I just wanted to get to it before anybody else. Like obviously,
it is,
Jesus.
Well, it is
Yes, no,
Mother's
but-
Day, so life,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
existence. That's right. So
It's interesting. I was kind of thinking about my wife at our wedding gave me a picture that's hanging in my office. But I actually thought this at that time too. I'm like, you're giving me a gift? Like, aren't you giving me you? Like, that's the best
Yeah,
gift, right?
yeah.
And just the fact that she would say yes and give herself to me, I think that was aside from Jesus and life, and
yeah.
it's probably one of the best gifts. Like, I mean, it is like
Yeah.
somebody giving their life to you is awesome.
I would say there's so many, and yet the one that still kind of like stands out is when we were first early married, and we didn't have a lot of money, and Alana was working at Starbucks, and so you're getting just enough. But because you're also working at Starbucks, you get tips, and so like you would get, $3 a night or $5 a night kind of thing, and so she over time saved up all of her tips, and for our very first Christmas, she saved up all of her tips and bought me a video iPod when they first came out,
Nice.
which was like for our early married, still in college, still trying to pay off student loans and like all of that, and like the fact that she really worked hard on herself to make that for me, like it just always stands out of like that's one of the best gifts
Yeah.
I ever received, because it was like she got nothing and I got the greatest gift ever.
It represents the long planning,
Yeah.
and long
She's very good
sacrifice,
at
and-
like
yeah,
planning
that's
out there.
really cool. Yeah. Huh. I guess you already answered, hey?
Well, and as far as like stuff like that goes, man, there's a lot of things, and unfortunately, none of them are really coming to mind at the moment. But come on over to my house, and I'll probably end up showing you various things, right?
Yeah.
Where they're significant and meaningful, but are easy to
I find
sort of
that
blank on.
I find that my wife, I don't know if this resonates with you guys, but my wife is good at noticing what I like and then getting me something like
absolutely.
And then I'm like, oh, you got me something. What would you like? And I just don't know. I'm like this oblivious guy who's like, I'll get you what you want if you tell me.
Yeah, I'll say this. One of the things that Sheena's really good at in terms of gift giving is it's like ways to spend time with people. So like a lot of the stuff that she's guided our kids in giving, I mean, as you know, right, as they grow up, you want them to have, we try and let them have more of an influence on what is given as a gift, but so there's that balance between steering and just letting them. And Sheena's all, whenever she's tried to steer, it's in the direction of something that like we could do together.
Yeah. Memory.
Right? Well, or like a game we'll play together, so we're spending time together or having some kind of experience or something like that. And I will say that those are the most significant gifts. They might not be might not be a thing that lasts, but it's a time shared and a memory and a moment together. And so those are huge.
Yeah, they are.
So the reason I ask these as well too is I think about the way that Bob Goff described the way that this young man was just so excited and just beside himself to share this amazing gift with this woman that he loves, and then relating that to how, Jeff, you related that to this woman who just was in that mindset of like, I really need to come to Jesus and I need to pour this out because it's necessary. And even just thinking about that feeling, like that feeling that they probably had in that readiness and anticipation and getting ready to give that thing, we probably have been in those situations where like we've been super excited to give that gift and you give it over and it's a flop, right? If Jesus' reaction would have been a little bit different to this woman, I wonder how she would have felt in that moment. And yet, Jesus actually very appropriately said, actually, this might look a little bit crazy, but this is exactly what this woman was supposed to do to show her amazing love, because that's exactly what God has done for us in pouring out his son.
Yeah.
So like you kind of related those things together where God is just so extravagant in pouring out that sense of love. And it's because of what he was feeling at that time, right? And so when you're getting ready to give that gift to significant other, friend, mom, parent, you are so excited and you're so ready and you're anticipating. And I feel like that's sort of what I wonder what this woman was feeling, and how even we are called and challenged to pour out our lives in the same way to what God is calling us to, into living in faith, right? And being extravagant with the way that we love others, and being extravagant in the way that we love God, and show our great appreciation for who he is and what he's done, right? And looking at this woman, like I wonder what it was like afterwards. Like, did she walk away kind of thinking, oh man, those disciples who actually had a very poor reaction, was she kind of taken aback by that? Like, did that kind of ruin the gift giving experience for her, or was it the opposite? Did she only just hear the words of Jesus? And I just wonder about those things. Like,
I think I think she had her mind eyes set on Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And I think that as soon as he said she's done a beautiful thing, and then explained how much more significant it was than, I don't know if she knew or not. Right. Somehow she perceived, but I don't know how much she knew. What a significant thing this was. I think she went away just like, that's what I think. If he wouldn't have said what he said, like you said. Yeah. And I mean, just all this, how you're talking about how we feel and we're excited, like that God feels that way about us. Like he's chosen to feel that way about us, and to pour out just makes you so like the woman, right? Like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm
Yeah.
seen, I'm loved, yeah.
And you also wonder if like that's kind of called how we're called to live is like I'm ready to serve no matter what the reaction is, right? Because there's sometimes where, you know what, we do something kind for our neighbor or for our kids or for whoever, and they're either indifferent or it's a negative, why did you do it that way?
Yeah.
Or it's greatly received, right? And
Yeah.
either way, it's still not the point. The point is, are you being faithful to what God is calling you to in serving others, into loving others, into
And
it is
serving
saying-
him, like we're serving him by serving this. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's exactly why Paul says, you work for God alone. When you apply your hands, you are actually serving God first and foremost,
Yeah.
not your employer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's secondary, but really, if you're working for God, your job makes sense, right? In anything that you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, even as we look ahead as well too, this Sunday, it's Mother's Day. So in case you were unaware, this is your official announcement. This comes out on Thursday, so hopefully you have time to think about ways that you can be extravagant, or think about experiences, time together. For some moms, that might also be, you know what, I just want some time alone. Maybe that's what they need for grandparents.
Maybe that's the Saturday.
Yeah.
To fuel up
Yeah.
for Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just get a good rest, a nice
Yeah.
siesta.
Yeah, you can serve on Saturday too. It doesn't have to be just Sunday.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the whole year. Yeah. Anyways.
Wait,
So-
it's almost like in a sermon recently, I heard someone talk about something that was seasonal that could have been.
Yeah.
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 So,
Anyways.
so every year at Mother's Day is kind of the beginning of a season for us as well too, where all throughout the year you can actually donate, but they actually have a very focused campaign. And so these are baby bottles. This comes from the Okanagan Valley Pregnancy Care Center, which is something that we have supported throughout the years as well. And they have a time from Mother's Day to Father's Day. So it's really easy to remember. Mother's Day to Father's Day, they just call for a bit of an extra of donation, because they actually do need support all throughout the year as well too. And so that's going to begin this Sunday. Everybody's going to be able
Can
to
I
walk
see one of
away.
those for a moment? Thank you.
Everybody's going to be able to walk away with one of these, or
Yeah.
you can actually go to their website, or there'll be a QR code here on the screen that you can actually go to that actually goes right to their donate page. But also, you can go to their website, ovpcc.com, and check out some of the things that they do. They have a newly renovated facility, and it's an awesome ministry that we love to support.
And
So-
just to be clear, this is to collect change.
Yeah,
well,
so
you could put anything
these
in
are-
it, really.
yeah. Oh,
I mean,
change
they're
or
not
something.
going to be
Change.
sad if you slip a
Right.
20 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
they've said,
Yeah.
you can put a check in there.
That's right.
That fits just very nicely
Yep.
as well too. For families, this might be a really good way to just, throw some change in.
Yep.
Okay, every
Yep.
week we're going to throw something
Yeah,
between Mother's Day and
exactly.
Father's Day.
good.
And yeah.
There's a little bit of information about them inside too. And,
Yep.
that's kind of what I wanted to see. Is I don't recall the nicely rolled up little tube before, but
Yeah.
just talks a little bit more about what they do and who they are. And yeah, I think you're right, Jeff, that it started more as a, hey, we've all got change, why don't you fill a bottle with that? But really, that's
Yeah.
not so much the case
Right.
these days, right? So anything you can want to slip in there, it's all good.
And then halfway between Mother's Day and Father's Day, there's a women's night.
It's International Food Night. I believe.
International Food Night,
International
yes.
Food Night.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so that's one Friday evening, and it's going to be at the church, and I think it's $5. You got to pay that up front, and
Yep.
and so yeah, that'll be a good thing for the women to do. They've had some really great events, and
Yeah.
and so this is the next one in line. So
And they have some amazing people who very much know some of those international foods, who are going to be cooking some of those things. So it's all going to be food safe, prepared in our kitchen or prepared
Right.
beforehand. And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just like, well, fries are international.
They're French,
But
aren't they?
the
Yep.
little bits we've heard about the
Yeah.
menu just sound like
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, so it's June 2nd at 6:30 p.m. and you can pay $5 ahead of time either by e-transfer or through the office. And yeah, we're excited for the women on that. So that's about halfway between Mother's Day and Father's Day, and then heading to Father's Day, and yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for enjoying the sunshine. Hopefully you have a coffee because we don't have a coffee. So hopefully you're enjoying it for us. But we hope you have a wonderful week, and happy Mother's Day when we see you.